Boop, 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 boop. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. I'm really stuck inside. I can't go outside. Don't stop me. I'm pandemic timing. Don't stop me during pandemic timing. I don't want to touch anyone else at all. Da, 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 da. Stay 6 feet away from my hive. And the world is sniffling inside out, yeah. Breathing it into their lungs. And I don't want the virus at all now. I don't want that virus at all, and I don't want that virus at all. It's Edwin Sammon of Knowledge. Hey guys, welcome to episode 11. Episode 11, Go to Heaven. Legs 11, is 7. So there's some bingo calling. I was fired from my job as a bingo caller because they said I was hesitating too much. And you know what? They're right. Because I really hesitated there. I didn't know what the hell I was going to say. So guys, I hope you're all doing well. The weather is good. Everything is closed. I walked past the International Bar and Lounge. Oh, they've got a lounge. You go in there and you say, this is a nice bar. And immediately they start pushing the lounge and go, we've got a lounge in back. I'm like, all right, hang on a minute there, buddy. Let me just see what the bar is like before I go spending money on the exclusive lounge out the back with beaded curtains and all sorts of cocktails and mocktails. Not a fan of cocktails and mocktails. I mean, I don't mind them. I went to a gig one time, but it was more like a mini terrible festival running in Imma. And it was terrible. And there was a big queue for the bar. And I said, I know where there's another bar downstairs, the secret bar. And I went down and there was a queue of people and I thought, what's going on? Why is there a queue of people for this bar? And they all had menus and I was like, are they serving food down here? And no, they weren't. They were making cocktails. And I was like, look, screw this. I don't have to be reading a menu. I know what I want. I just want a pint of Guinness. Poured from a tap in a pub in one of my favourite pubs. It'll happen soon. Well, maybe not soon. Who knows? Look, listen. Guys, I hope everyone's doing okay in the sunshine. I hope if you're lucky enough to have a garden or if you're in the 2 kilometre range to be within 2 kilometres from the Phoenix Park or somewhere like that. And hopefully not everyone will be there. I walked to Grafton Street with Cara. She had to go stock up on some essential herbs for her cauldron. She's going to be having a Zoom call with all of her coven, she calls them. It's a funny little nickname she has for her circle of friends. So she said she needed some essential oils and spices. And she needed to get her broomstick re-thatched, which is something that she has to have done once a month. I don't know how she wears it out so much. I mean, I'm the one who does all the cleaning. You know, like sometimes I'll say to her, do you want to use your broom to clean the kitchen? She goes, no, that's what the Hoover is for. And she's got a Henrietta Hoover. I've got a Henry Hoover in my house, and my dream is that when we do get married, whenever it is, she wants Halloween. I don't think that's the most romantic time of year, but she claims it is. She says that's when she feels her sexiest, around Halloween. I'm like, I'm not going to argue with her, but I'm hoping that her Henrietta Hoover and my Henry Hoover can meet up. And wouldn't it be fun if they hit it off? And then we had a double wedding because God's not involved. In fact, when I said it to Cara, I said, do you want... You're not religious, I'm not religious, we have a religious wedding. And she went, no, I don't want God anywhere near our wedding. The other fella now, maybe. And I was like, what do you... The other fellow? Well, the devil. I said jokingly, and she just laughed her wonderful laugh. But she didn't deny it. So it hasn't come up since. But, we're doing pretty good. And guys, I don't want to be blowing my own trumpet here, but I don't know if anyone saw that delicious apple pie. It's like a crumble top apple pie crumble pie is how I'm not going to call it. But it's got a crumbly, crispy layer, and then it's got sliced apple, and then it's got a sponge. And it was bloody delicious. Now I put more vanilla I put double the amount of vanilla essence and double the amount of cinnamon because I love cinnamon. And I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but it was pretty bloody delicious. I can only blow my trumpet so far. I didn't invent cinnamon or apples. I always wondered where that phrase, blowing your own trumpet, comes from. It's a strange phrase when you think about it. I mean, did that come out of an awkward moment in history way back whenever it was, hundreds of years ago, where, one person's lips were plastered over a trumpet that didn't belong to them, and then they were like, oh, sorry, you need to blow your own trumpet. It's like, it's basically, it's praising someone, but no one ever says, if I can just blow your trumpet for a minute. No one ever says that. People always say, no, if I can blow my own trumpet, or, I don't mean to blow my own trumpet if they're trying to be modest, but no one says, hey, that's great. Let me blow your trumpet. It just sounds bad, because your trumpet maybe sounds like something else, Let me slide your trombone. It just doesn't, people don't say, yeah, I like that guy. I'd blow his trumpet any day of the week. It would come out wrong. There's no, did they go through a number of expressions? Did they throw some other instruments in there before they landed on trumpet as the one that, yeah, let's go with trumpet. I'd blow his bassoon, or I'd pluck her heartstrings, or I'd fiddle his French horn. No, that sounds even worse, doesn't it? I'd slide his guitar. I don't know. We may never know because I haven't Googled it and I don't know for sure. Because Googling is so easy these days. If you have some kind of argument like, oh, I think that Mr. Belvedere ran for 4 seasons from 1987 to whatever. And so, no. And then you just Google it and immediately you know the answer. And that's turning people into dummies. I think that's what it is. People are not thinking for themselves, not even trying to remember things that they already know in their brains. They're like, I don't have time for this. Google is here. Google will tell us everything we need to know. But it doesn't. And it's kind of like this this 5G has caused the virus conspiracy theory that's going around. Now, some of you listening may be here from those conspiracy guys. I like conspiracies. I believe very, 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 very few of them. But they're fun to talk about. Some people think that conspiracy theories are dangerous. And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Some of them are plainly ridiculous. Some of them are maybe a little bit questionable. But hey, they're fun to talk about. People love conspiracy theories. I think definitely before the internet, there was maybe not as prevalent. There wasn't as many conspiracy theories going on, but this 5G thing is ridiculous. And there's a certain politician, let's call her Rema O'Rourke, an Irish politician who is a horrible person by all accounts. And, she's got 45,000 followers on Twitter, which is more than me. And I'm not a horrible person. But whenever she says something or does something horrible, people tweet it or tweet about her and say, look at this person doing all these horrible things. And they're just shining a light on her. They're just giving her more oxygen. And a lot of the time, these are people who are just doing these things to try and appear sound. The white knights of the internet, which are, I'm not too happy with those guys. But yeah, it's true. She is horrible. I'm not going to say her name. I refuse to say her name. But she trends all the time, and it's crazy. Another person that was trending this week, whose name I can't say, is Matt Damon. Because Matt Damon is in Dublin, in Dalkey, and he was going swimming, and he had a super value bag with his togs in it. Or at least we can assume it was his togs, because it was just a picture of him going, hey, I don't know who took the picture. He's like, hey, here I am, going for a swim. And people lost their shit. And everyone was going, oh my God, he's one of us, gobble, 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 one of us. And like, isn't this insane? Matt Damon with a super value bag. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, he has to eat and he has to sleep and shit like the rest of us. He's not special. He's just rich. And you've seen him on the TV. You know, so what? He's got a super value bag. Big whoop. I guess we're very, very devoid of entertainment at the moment. Hey, thanks for listening to my podcast. I gotta say, I had a very bad day yesterday. I feel better today. I'm a little bit angry. I've got a little bit of anger in me, and things are annoying me. People are annoying me. Children, mainly teenagers. Because there's teenagers around here, and I see them walk up and down, and they're young, but they're trying to act older than they are. And I guess it's an inner city Dublin thing. They're very, very loud as well. It's like, I mean, every time I hear them, I just feel like shouting down, can I see your broadcasting license? Because that's what Gerry, my father, used to say to me and my brothers when we'd be playing music too loud in our rooms. He'd go, do you have a broadcasting license? And we go, no. He goes, then turn that shit down.
I'm like, shut up, Dad. If I want to listen to Nirvana and cry, I'll do it, alright? You can't stop me.
That's me when I was 11. I was a very early developer. But yeah, these kids, man. But I tell you what, sometimes there's instant karma. And instant karma is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it happened the other day, and it was beautiful. And I'll tell you all about it after these short messages. Salmon of knowledge is a salmon of knowledge. It's a commercial break now. Hey guys, we're back. So I was on the balcony having a cigarette, and I was looking down with my beloved Cara by my side. We're looking down at the street, and this man comes up. He was a big guy wearing shorts. He had a great big bushy beard, and he had a little pup with him, a little black dog. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a Labrador. It was like a cross between a lab and something else, I guess, but it was only a little puppy. And the puppy was just bouncing along and sniffing everything, and he was being a little bit impatient. Then all of a sudden, because pups, they pee and they poop. The puppy went for the poops, and it went for poops, and it was like 6 inches away from a drain, a square drain. Then it could have, I don't know why, because guess what, guys? The man didn't pick up the shit. He just went, well done, and walked on with his puppy. And the shit's still on the ground, and he was 6 inches away from a grate. I don't know why he didn't pull the dog over the grate and say, there you go, shit down the grate. That's great. But he didn't, and he walked on. And then next thing I see, these two young boys, they're about, I'd say, 11, 12, maybe a little bit older, I don't know, but they're young enough, but they're inner city Dublin kids, so they're trying to act tougher than they are. And one of them's eating a bag of Doritos, small bag of Doritos, and he's talking away. And this is all happening. The man and the dog walk around the corner, and these kids come up, and the boy casually just drops the empty packet of crisps on the ground. And that shit just annoys me so fucking much. Have some respect for where you live, for your surroundings, for the planet. We're in the middle of a pandemic. People are stressed out. The planet is doing a lot better because people aren't traveling and polluting. And this kid, this little prick, is just throwing his bag on the ground. But then something beautiful happened. The kid stepped in the dog shit and kept walking and didn't realise it, and his friend beside him. And me and Cara had a big old laugh. I went, ha 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 ha, and Cara went, and we laughed and laughed. It was pure instant karma. And I contend, if that kid had any kind of decency, he would have been looking around for a bin. And in looking around for a bin, he would have spotted that dog shit on the ground, and he would have avoided it. But see, these kids, they're kind of... The problem with these kids is, you know, they're teenagers. I'm not going to say that their parents aren't doing the best job that they could, but it's true. They're not. Because I see these kids and they're hanging around. They're not brothers. They're friends. And they're hanging around in groups of like 4 and 5, and they're cycling bikes. And I saw a couple of the kids with a couple of slightly older kids. So like 10, 11-year-olds and 14, 15-year-olds. And the 14, 15-year-old guy was talking really fucking loudly about drugs, about, you know, weed, and was shouting over, "Any skins? Hey lads, you have any skins?" And they're like,
Yeah, we've loads of skins. How many skins do you want?
and then he says, "Do you have any roaches?" And I was like, what? Nobody says that. You don't say, "Do you have any roaches?" Nobody carries a bag of roaches. You make a roach from a bit of cardboard or the card on the cigarette papers that you're using. So I've been told. You don't buy a bag of roaches. No one buys a bag of roaches. The only person that buys a bag of roaches is someone who's feeding cockroaches to their pet lizard. That's the only person who would have a bag of roaches in that instance. And then one of his other friends was talking about, and the other kids were there. The dog shitter, the dog shit stepper, and the smaller boy. We'll call him half man child and half man child, and they were just standing there in awe of this older, louder, seemingly more confident blokey bloke, and he was going on, and he was like texting someone. He says, "Oh yeah, I'll get a boogie," and then he turns to the younger half man boy and says, "You know what boogie is?" And he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "What is it?" And he just goes, I don't know. And he's all embarrassed. And like your man's like, yeah, didn't think you did. And only that they live around the place, and it'd be a non-stop. I'd be inviting prepubescent rage on my house. And I don't want that, but I so wanted to shout down to your man, "It's all right, I'm in my 40s and I don't know what a boogie is." It's some drug reference though, some cool drug reference from that cool guy. And one of the other guys had like greying hair and was I was like, he's in his early 30s and he's riding around on a pink girl's bike, spitting on the ground. What a bunch of scumbags. So, fuck those guys. And then when I went for a walk the other day, I went around to the corner shop to get some tobacco because I was smoking because of all the stress. And I'm walking back, and 3 of those kids and the man boy, half man boy, who's got like a half haircut, he's got the fade, and I've got the full fade, 360-degree full fade, full dome fade. And he shouted something at me, and I had my headphones on, and I just said what I always say when kids on bikes shout at me. When I have headphones on and I'm listening to a podcast or music, I just shouted, "I can't hear you, mate. I'm wearing headphones." So, you know, maybe he'll learn. But it's funny because I'm like observing this kid, and if he gives me any more shit, I'm going to corner him and just psychologically tear him apart and go, "Listen, it's okay. I know you're angry. I know you're unsure of yourself. I know you're going through, your body is hormonally all over the place. I know you're scared. I know your dad's maybe not in the picture. Maybe your mum is a bitch. I don't care. It's okay. You've got a lot of growing up to do. I'm not going to be around to watch you grow up." Now, before we leave, it's time for a Gerry update. Some people are enjoying the Gerry updates. I was talking to my father the other day, after the Easter egg hunt, because on Sunday myself and Cara had an Easter egg hunt. Now she's not that religious. She loves any kind of pagan ritual, so she loves the sort of the fertility aspect of finding eggs hidden by a very sexually active Easter bunny who would be just going at it non-stop. Maybe not because he's full of eggs, but I had perfect hiding places. I hid one egg. We had like Cadbury's cream eggs, and we had Lindor, which have that kind. They're not hollow. They're like they've got loads of gooey chocolate goodness inside. Like they're beautiful, beautiful chocolate. And Gerry agreed with me on that. And we had Cadbury's cream eggs, which are full of sugary, gooey goodness. And I hid these eggs in some really good places. I hid one in a potted plant. That was the first one that she found. And then I hid one in the jacket of her winter coat that I knew she wouldn't be wearing. And then she's got this kind of black pointy hat that she wears kind of in special occasions. So I hid one in there. And then I came upon an idea in my head. And I looked at the idea in my head and I thought, that's a good idea. And what I did was, we've got these storage jars, glass storage jars. And I like to keep one of them full of brown sugar for baking, because I like to bake. And I thought, yes, I'll hide it in there. And I basically got a spoon, dug a hole, and then I put the Cadbury's cream egg in and just kind of gently pushed it down and then covered it over with the sugar. And I was trying to give her some clues. And I was saying, here's a clue. Mick Jagger likes this in his tea. She's like, Mick Jagger? What? Huh? She didn't know anything about it. So, yeah, Mick Jagger. Huh, let's give it some. I want some of that brown sugar in my tea. I like it sweet, don't I? Perfect Mick Jagger impression. So that was the last one that she found. I kind of didn't want to give her clues. I would have loved to have not told her where it was and just say, there's one egg left. You don't know where it is. I won't tell you where it is until midnight. And then I'll reveal all. But she probably would have killed me by then. But talking to Gerry, and I was asking him how things are going. He was saying that, that the dishwasher broke in the house. And then the chest freezer that was out in the shed is now broken. Well, they moved it. And then it broke. He blames mother, of course. But I think, who knows? I'm not going to blame anyone, because I don't want to get in trouble. But they were eating, he was eating some thick oxtail soup, and he's had the last of the shepherd's pie, or cottage pie. I think it was a cottage pie. He'll correct me if I don't get it right. Cottage pie, which is made from fresh cottages, a little bit chunky, a lot of roughage in that, in a cottage pie. You want a shepherd's pie, which is just made from minced shepherd. Kind of a lot more flavour there. It's not as kind of dense as a cottage pie. But we're just talking about foodstuffs and food things. And he was saying back in his day, in the 1800s, he would have had a fast day because, people were much more religious then, because, priests weren't going around fucking kids left, right and centre. Well, actually they were, but they just didn't find out about it until years later. But people, had a lot more respect for the religious institutions than they do now, which they don't, because of all the child fucking. So on Fridays, it was a fast day, so they didn't eat meat. And I was like, well, what did you... And he was like, because I would always say, and sort of sometimes it would be a bone of contention with me and my mother, when father and mother come up to Dublin, to the big city, to go to lunch, and we have to pick somewhere that will have bacon and cabbage, or unflavoured spuds, or butter and carrots or something, steak and onions, simple meals. We can't go to a sushi place, or we couldn't go to a Chinese, because it'd just be a bit of old chicken and a bit of old rice. What is it? Only exactly what I described it there to be. And I was saying, okay, well, I used to just think he wasn't a very adventurous person when it came to trying new culinary things. But then he told me, he says that when he was younger, himself and his sister, my late Aunt Terry, she used to enjoy, my Aunt Terry used to enjoy sitting down with my father, and they'd split a raw turnip between them, and they'd be munching away on a raw turnip, and they'd be loving that raw turnip. And then he said Terry used to also enjoy cold cabbage sandwiches. And I said, you fucking what? And he said, cold cabbage sandwiches. And I said, I know, I heard you. I just can't believe that is something that someone would eat. And my dad's response to that was, well, I mean, what's the difference between having cold cabbage in a sandwich or crisps in a sandwich? And I said, the taste, and pretty much, well, she'd have salt and pepper on it. I said, then you just have salty, peppery, cold cabbage in a sandwich. Like, what's the difference? Like crisps, a crisp sandwich is delicious. Cold cabbage sandwich. So then I realized that my dad actually is quite adventurous, because if you grow up eating raw turnip and cold cabbage sandwiches, then, salmon with a bit of dill sauce and a squeeze of lemon and some greens is actually a very, very adventurous meal. It's almost like eating a live octopus for him. So I apologize, Father. I was wrong about you in so many ways. He shaved his beard off as well. My dad basically looks like, well, I look like my dad because he came first. So it's like sometimes it's like looking in a future mirror when I see my father. But not now, because he shaved his beard off because boredom, I guess. And he was video calling my older brother and the kids, my brother's kids, my father's grandkids. You know how it works. And they said he looked like a turtle, which I don't know if it was an insult. I don't think it was an insult. I think it was just merely an observation, because he kind of does. Now he's got a big bald head on him. Maybe he looks like a turtle, so he's going to have to grow that beard back so he can look like a bearded turtle. Anyway, guys, that's all from me. And to sing you out, it's me again. I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, Scaramouche, Edwin Sammon of knowledge, send us some knowledge. I don't have much knowledge, no, you don't have 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 no knowledge. Ho, ho, ha, ho, ha, ho. Does anyone listen to the end? One person does, at least one person does. La, 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 la. Goodbye.